G'day folks, thanks for joining us again here on the Custom Chopper channel. We're here with this wonderful couple on the Gold Coast. We'll let them introduce themselves. We're here with
John
and Lorna.
and Lorna. Thanks for joining us here today. Now, we're going to do a bit of a walk around your bike in a second and we'll show off, but just for the viewers at the moment, can you just talk us through what you're riding, what you have?
Yep, 2012 Harley Davidson Road King.
Yep, and how long have you had?
We've had the Road King since, when did we get it? April?
Yeah,
last year. Yeah, we bought it April last year.
Yep. Now, when you bought it, was it fully customized already, or have you done a lot of work to the bike yourself? Or?
No, all the work was done. So saved me a lot of mind-bending financial hardship at the time. So I thought I'd just, bite the bullet and get one that was already done.
Okay. And is this your first bike, or have you always ridden? What's your history? What's your background?
Yep, ridden on and off. First bike I ever got was when I learnt to ride on a 250s, like many people, 250 Suzuki back in 1972 was my first bike.
Yep.
I think I had that bike maybe about 2 months, and I got hit and run on that by doing my fault doing a U-turn, but I pulled back onto my own side of the road, but it was a drunk driver coming the other way who skidded across the road and hit me. And then I got that bike repaired and back on the road, and then I bought a 1973 brand new off the floor Triumph 750 Tiger was my next bike.
Wow, brand new.
Brand new.
Brand new.
Yeah.
What was it worth back in the day then?
I think it was about $1,800.
Times have changed.
Yeah, it was about 1,800.
Probably a lot of money back then, though.
Yeah, I traded the Suzuki on it, and the same dealership. Yeah, in back in New Zealand, and it was So I remember riding that bike out the showroom, brand spanking new. Yeah, it was special. But like I was young. I was just about to turn 18 then.
Yep.
Back in the day when you could get your license at 15 and you were fully licensed and on the road ready to kill.
Cool.
So I had that Triumph, I suppose, about 2.5 years, and like many, did lots of foolish things with that. The day the helmet law came into New Zealand, I came off that at about 80 mile an hour and caused myself a bit of damage and the bike. But rebuilt that, and then had more mechanical problems with it over time, probably down to my own riding style and thrashing it and so forth. But
yep.
As you do, but put a lot of time and effort and self-repairing the bike and keeping it looking good, and then eventually one thing and another, it got stolen, and
that must have broken your heart if you had put so much work into it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It did, and as I was telling you before, Jared, off camera, about the fact that I was still dreaming about it right up until we bought the latest bike. I'd still have these.
Yeah, that was a fascinating story. So
yeah.
you were having these recurring dreams about the bike, the Triumph, that got nicked.
Yep.
And then you purchased Betty.
Yep.
Yep. And you were saying what happened then with the dreams?
Yeah, I haven't had those dreams again since. It's like I've had closure on that, and it's like I've created something better.
Yep.
In buying this one, so my subconscious mind has like become a lot more settled.
So what was the time frame between the Triumph and the Harley?
Oh, the Triumph and the Harley is probably, what would it be? That would be 46 years.
Wow, that's
and in between, and in between, I've had a couple. Yeah, I had another. I had a Triumph Bonneville, 74 Bonneville. Followed that. Had that for a couple of years, and then got rid of that, and then basically transitioned into driving V8 cars and whatever you know, as you do, as you get a little bit older and you have all your mates and you want to take them everywhere with you, and transition from that to family, children. Bikes became a secondary thing because of finances, I guess, and that's how it is for a lot of people. Home ownership and all the things got in the way, but then I bought another. I actually was doing a bit of building work, and a guy had a little, I think, oh God, what was it, about a 175 or something like that Honda, and he ran out of money and he said, do you want my 175 Honda? So yeah, I got that off him, and I rode that round for a little bit because it was just cheap transport where I was in New Zealand, and yeah, and that was back in 2000, and then now back onto this. But I've never really lost the riding instinct. It was like second nature getting back on the bike and riding.
So if you've had so many triumphs and stuff, what was the conscious decision, or what was the motivation, I guess, for choosing a Harley and the type of Harley? Was there a particular lifestyle choice in that, or is it?
Yeah, there was. Yeah. I guess you could call it community.
Yep.
Is the word that comes to mind for me. But I guess both Lorna and I, you were the same. We saw that there was a community that's really strong in and around the brand, around the Harley Davidson brand. Not to mention that the bikes themselves, you know, some people find them unreliable, but from my general viewpoint, I see them as being a reliable, solid bike. And of course, when you see somebody like Danny Hayes, Bogan, what he does to that Road King, and it still runs.
Is that the guy who went to Cape York?
Yeah.
On it?
Yeah.
On a brand new one? Yeah, I watched that video.
And he's just done
I just felt sorry for the
They've
bike.
just done the Bolivia Death
all the things
Road.
to do on a brand new bike.
Yeah.
He's just done.
He's just
all
done
that.
the Bolivian Death Road, and the stuff that bike's gone through, it defies all logic that it's in one piece.
I
But
know. It was an incredible series of videos he did on that trip to Cape York. You know, it's just like, Jesus, the thing's still running. It's incredible. So that's, I agree, good testimony.
and that's what sold me on the brand, really. You know, like seeing what the bike's capable of, and what it can sustain in terms of heavy road use.
Yep.
It just sold me on the brand, and you can't beat a Harley sound. I mean, that's the other thing. I just love the sound of a Harley. It's Triumphs have got a certain thump to them, but a V-twins,
So since you've got the Harley, have you kind of networked in with other riders and groups within the community?
Joined I've got a neighbour with who's another Harley Davidson rider, and also we've networked in with the local Harley owners group here on the Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done a lot of riding with them, but we're sort of, I guess, by the nature of our profession is involved with hypnotherapy, we've sort of, it tends to put you out on the fringe of things a little bit, and
This is something I'd like to talk about, because we were chatting about this off camera. So tell us a little bit about your business, if you like, and also we were talking about the mental health side of things and the benefits that we're experiencing as riders and stuff.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that as well, Lorna?
Well, we're both clinical hypnotherapists, and we've been practicing, running a full-time practice now for nearly 20 years in Brisbane and on the Gold Coast. And through those years, we've also developed training courses, and we've been training other people in hypnotherapy as a profession around Australia. So I'm still working, 4 days a week on the Gold Coast.
Yep.
But John is really involved in running our online courses now, and that takes a bit of time, to do all that. So I see a lot of clients, and I see a lot of people with anxiety and depression and PTSD. And even if they just come to stop smoking or drinking alcohol, often there's those mental issues behind the habits they have, So so with the work that we do, the connection, what I see is, I do help a lot of people. We both do in mental health, obviously.
Yep.
But we were wanting to connect it to the Harley, and we were thinking, how could we do that? How can we connect the two? Because we want to help more people to understand more about themselves and to be more aware. And if they do have, which a lot of people do, especially since all the lockdowns that have happened, everywhere, to discover that there's alternative help, or complementary, I could say. We're an allied profession. Yep. So we do work alongside of psychologists and psychiatrists, because I get a lot of referrals from them. But to be more aware of how hypnotherapy can be so beneficial to help these people.
Do you want to? I'll link your business in the description for people interested as well. Do you want to give a quick shout out for your web address for people watching?
Yeah, sure. We've got Lorna's hypnotherapy website is hypnoresults.com.au.
So hypnoresults.com.au.
Yep. And our for the education side, anyone that's interested in learning anything about hypnotherapy or hypnosis, it's hypnotherapylearninghub.com.
All right, I'll drop the links to all that in the description, so have a look down below, folks. And for the people watching from overseas, that background noise before is not a camera issue, that's what we call cicadas.
The Queensland beetles in the bushes.
Yeah. And just to talk a little bit about what you just mentioned, the mental health side. Of writing. One of the things that, and I guess you might understand this too, Jared, is when you go writing, when you're working, on web design or something like that, you tend to, it takes a lot of your brain power, and it can be frustrating, and some days I've just mentally stressed, especially if I'm sort of designing something and then I'm dealing with one of our students on answering questions to one of the students, or there's something goes wrong and you need to fix something on the hub or with Lorna's website, and to be able to just get on the bike and go for a ride, even if it's just for an hour or 2 hours, and just ride the bike and think about nothing else. I particularly just enjoy riding, say, into the heavy traffic here on the Gold Coast. So there's nothing else to do but concentrate on staying on the bike and looking out for cars trying to take you off the road. So while I'm doing that, my mind is that's the focus. Yep. And I come home and it's just like I feel like a whole weight has been taken off my shoulders. So
I guess it's a form of meditation in a way. It's shifting your mindset,
I think that's really interesting you say that, because I've actually had several people I've interviewed using that exact word, meditation.
It is. It's waking meditation.
Yeah. I think the guy I interviewed before, Vinny, that we were talking about off camera on his trips across the Nullarbor, he said it's like a 5-day meditation journey for him. That whole 5 days on the road. So I think it's really good.
It's very good for your mind, because you're shifting your mind. You're really shifting into your subconscious mind rather than your logic mind, your analytical mind, and you're opening up. And because you're a rider and you know how you do that automatically, but yet you've still got to be alert enough to watch what's going on. But your subconscious mind is really more active, I think, when you're riding. It's not so much for the passenger. I'm sitting on the back and I'm enjoying the view. Yep. And I don't really think a lot when I'm sitting there, because it's therapeutic for both of us, in different ways, I guess.
It engages the flight or fight part of the brain.
Yeah.
So your subconscious mind is basically taking over and running the show, and you're more highly alert than you are in that state than naturally when you can be driving in a car and lapse into the early stage of hypnosis. So you get that phenomena where you are going from, say, point A to point B, and you arrive at point B and you think, how did I get here? Exactly.
Yeah.
And so So who's been driving the car, who's using the indicators, the brakes, observing the traffic lights and so forth like that, and the subconscious mind is. And its primary job is to keep you alive and functioning. So when you're busy thinking about something else, like it could be something stressful or something that's happened, you're busily focus on that as you're driving a car, and the subconscious mind has taken over the driving. Especially it'll occur on familiar routes that you might take every day. So,
totally agree. To me, for people, when I try to describe riding to a non-rider, I say it's kind of like how I would envisage flying a fighter jet. You have to be so hyper-focused on what's going on and block out everything else and all your other problems, because if you don't, then you get yourself in a bit of trouble. So
Exactly.
to me, the bike's a bit like that. You're so in the moment, as opposed to worrying about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen with this and that sort of stuff.
yeah, I'd agree
You're
on
more
that.
at one. You're at one with where you're at.
Exactly.
You're not thinking about your past, and you're not thinking really about your future.
You're
You
in
know
the
you're
moment.
going somewhere, but you're not there yet.
Yeah.
It's a very good way to bring you right back into the now, and most people find that really hard to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, when, how long now have you had the Harley? You've had that now for how long?
Since last year, about
Yeah.
April last year.
Yeah. So we've had it almost 12 months
12
now
months.
since we bought the
Have
Harley.
you done some touring on it or long rides yet, or you got anything planned?
We haven't done a lot. We've been local. We've been up to Tambourine Mountain. We haven't done a lot yet,
No, we've
but we
just
do
sort
have
of-
plans to do a lot more.
Yeah, we've just ranged in and around the Gold Coast and through the hinterland, and we've just primarily used it as a this is something different to do for us on the weekend.
Yep.
I guess you can see the role of what Lorna does as a hypnotherapist, and what I do as a more professional type of career, but at the same time, I guess we need to have that escape, and that's what the bike's provided for us. Is and part of the reason why we primarily bought the bike was to have that escape. But since we've got it, as you were talking about before, the community thing's evolving, and we've seen so much more opportunities and moving forward for us. So
We'll be going to more events that'll be on. I think there's a big show on next year, isn't there, on the Gold
I
Coast?
think coming up,
there's
is
a
it
big
later
gathering.
this year?
There is one in June. I think in June there's a Oz Bike Fest.
Yeah, Oz
Yeah.
Bike Fest is coming to the Gold Coast.
I'm actually off camera. I'm actually chatting to Chris Beattie, who's organising that. He's helping us out. We're going to do some shoots with him
Awesome.
this weekend. But yeah, that's coming up. I'm pretty sure it's June.
Isn't there a Sturgis happening there?
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
So Australian.
I think that's
Yeah.
a couple of day run, and he's going to take it. It's going to be Trans-Tasman. We're going to interview him later,
Yeah.
but it's going to be quite a big gig. It'll be very cool.
Yeah, I think if we
I guess what we're really wanting to do, because we do have a YouTube channel and we haven't done much with it as yet, but we do have plans for another one down the track. And the goal is to video ourselves on to do a vlog on there regularly of us traveling around and then talking about mental health and how, in between the sites and the places we go, and just sharing a little bit more about who we are.
I think
And,
that's a
and
great
getting
idea.
that more out there to bring more awareness to people. That's our goal, really, to help people to be more self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing with our work, and now we're going to incorporate that with a lifestyle, I guess. Because I'm 73 this year, and John's 60. How old are you now?
I'll be 67
That's
coming
right.
up in June. Yeah.
So we won't be working like we are full time.
No.
We do have some plans for the future, and the Harley's part of that.
That's
So we're going to be looking at winding down in the next maybe 12 months, and there'll be a lot more happening. So you're just catching us on the beginning of it, really.
On the cusp,
On the
cusp of a new adventure.
Of the
Yeah.
new lifestyle. That's why we like the Harley, because it represents freedom as well. And you're never too old.
And it might not necessarily be with the bike we have
No,
currently
it might not
either.
be.
We're actually looking at perhaps heading overseas
Yeah.
as well, and doing more riding overseas. But but definitely the Harley,
Yep.
a Harley will be involved, and that's what we want to do. We want to talk to people as we travel, and we won't be doing particularly long distance runs. Maybe 200-300 kilometres in a day, stopping, talking to people along the way about
Lifestyle.
life,
Yep.
about their life, wherever we are.
And showing people that watch that you're never too old to change your life. We're coming to, people would say, wow, you get to the end of your life, but we don't see it like that. We just see it like, we're like the phoenix, we keep reinventing ourselves.
I think that's a really good way to be.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about to do. We're having a really, the last reinvention
Yep.
of what we're about to do. And I mean, if we thought about this 10 years ago, we would never have had a clue that
No.
this was
Yeah.
where we would be even considering. But the way things work out, you just never know what's around the corner.
The number of neighbours
So,
when we bought the Harley that suddenly came over and going talking to us. What are you doing? What are you buying this for at your stage of life? And oh, aren't you worried you're going to fall off? Or no.
You've got to live.
Yeah, if you worry about
That's what it's about.
what's going to if you worry about death, we're already closing in on our final chapter of life, and it'll be when it is. It's not going to be. Why not enjoy yourself?
I guess
in the
that's a lot
meantime.
like what we were talking about before on the whole writing thing, is where it kind of forces you to be in the moment again, not worrying about the
That's
future or the
right.
past, but living for today and making the most of every single day.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Spot
Well,
on.
we wish you the very best on your journeys. It sounds like you've got some amazing adventures coming up. And I'll cut out now, but we're going to go for a quick walk around the bike and have a bit of a look, so you can just talk us over and introduce us to the girl.
Yeah.
And we'll have a bit of a look, and we'll be back in a second, folks. I can't see shit. Jump in there with me, mate.
Yeah.
Right, logoed. Right, here we go. Right, g'day folks, we're back here with the awesome John, and we're going to do we just did the interview, so we're going to do a bit of a walk around of his ride. So it's a bit windy, I apologise if the background noises. We'll just do the best we can. We'll just talk up a bit, mate.
Yeah, well,
But,
it's good to have the breeze anyway here on the Gold Coast. A bit hot today.
It is indeed. So right behind us here is the girl. So if you can give us a talk through.
Well, as we were saying before, it's a 2012 Harley Davidson Road King.
Yep.
The main parts. It's had a different seat put on. It's got the
Come in a little closer there
Yep.
for me, mate, so we can
yeah.
get you in the shot.
It's got the Road Zeppelin seat, so we can adjust the comfort level there for me or the passenger. We can pump the air up in that,
Yep.
which comes in handy. It's got the standard bags on. The main part of this bike, I guess, that makes it more custom than anything else. It's its stage 3 upgrade. S&S 107 big bore kit to replace the 103. It's got the MR 103 cams. It's had lifters, push rods, etc. done to it, and it's got the Vance and Hines exhaust. It's a comfortable ride. It cruises really nicely. It's got all the standard not standard, but it's got all the optional extras like the cruise control and things like that. It's just an all-round good bike, good solid performer, like all Harleys are really.
That's a really nice Screaming Eagle air kit you got going on here.
Yeah,
That's
big
beautiful.
wheelie, yeah.
That's really nice. And what's up here? Is this for layman's terms? They're normally speakers
They're just
or
storage.
That's
They're
just storage.
Yeah, they come standard as storage. Some people take that out, and you can put a speaker in there if you want.
So I saw one earlier today. He had his speaker system mounted in there.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, which I think's a good idea. I've often thought of that myself. Like you can put your speakers there, or you can seen some that load them into the front of the bags,
Yep.
and put their power amps and stuff inside the bags. But I I'm a fan of chrome and black, so that was another thing that attracted me to the bike. Was it's the chrome against the pearl black. It's had, as you can see, it's had a lot of little bits of chrome extras put on it.
Yep.
Which you know, can be a bit of a pain in the ass when you've been out on a wet day. You know, I do ride it in the wet, so I don't mind doing that.
Cool. Talk us through come around the front here and talk us through this windshield setup. This is interesting. What's this? I haven't seen this before on too many rides.
So you've got if you're riding it's a bit cold or something like that, you can shut that off. But
yep.
To open it up on this fairing, it just gives you that little bit of airflow coming through at you, which is handy to have. It's also got, you know, it's got a GoPro mount stuck in the front there, so you can.
That is such a cool idea.
Yeah,
I've never seen that before. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're a quick release. A couple of nuts loosen off the side, and you can just drop it off.
Yep.
I keep it sort of the pressure of the bike against the wind is enough to sort of to hold it in place.
Yep.
But it's, yeah, the whole thing just detaches really, you know, like you can just slide it forward and take it off.
Wow.
And just have the bike sort of open, more open cruiser style. But I like having it on all the time because it just gives you that little bit of deflection with the wind.
That's awesome, dude.
It's got LED, it's got the LED lights and so forth on it. Gives it a bit more sparkle, or if you're coming up on somebody that you want to get past, you want them to see you.
Yep.
Then I flick the lights on.
Yep. No, she's a beautiful ride. All right, mate. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. So we're going to sign out. So we'll jump in, Laura. We're going to drop down all of your socials and your links to your websites and that sort of stuff. So thanks very much for watching, folks. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching this video with the lovely John and Laura. And hit that subscribe button to help support the channel. But most of all, safe riding.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and
Thank
thanks,
you.
Jared.
Lovely
Take
meeting
care.
you.
Good work, mate.
All the best. Take care, folks.
Bye.
Bye.